got the angle shots.
We are currently running to the spot. They need me on the hill, so we gotta get up the hill.
Thank you for clicking on this video and being a little bit curious about how Artificial.I was made. I'm gonna assume that you watched the short film already, and if you haven't, I recommend watching it first. But you could also watch this first and then just have a different viewing experience when you do end up watching it. Either or. Yeah, this is the making of Artificial.I. Okay, let's get into the foundation of what makes the short film what it is. Or more what it turned into. It started out as a sketch, a comedic sketch video. I had the idea of, the premise of a guy basically being a human Siri or a human Alexa, like just being a human version of that. I thought, that's kind of funny. One of the first things I had was the weather joke that is in the short film. Hey, what weather is it? What's the weather like today? And then literally a human being having to walk outside, look up, walk back in, and then tell him the weather.
It's looking clear and sunny.
That is probably the first and the main thing that started this short film into what it is. All because of a silly little joke that I was like, that would be funny. I was still writing it more comedic. It was still written like a sketch. And then at the halfway point, something changed. I haven't done a short film in a while and I wanted to do something more. I just started writing it and kind of changing it a little bit into a more serious tone. When I was writing it originally, I imagined the performances doing most of the comedy, but at the end of what I wrote, I changed it to where the comedy is what's just in it. Like the comedy is in the writing, it's in the thing. We don't have to play it up, Like I don't have to play the joke to the camera. I just have to let the story tell the story, and people will laugh at certain things or not laugh. And in the writing, I kept in mind to design it in a way that I could film this realistically and cheaply. Obviously, as a filmmaker, you kind of want to bring out the best of the best, and you want to just, we got to make this cinematic. We got to have this quality. We got to do this and that. I lean towards walking away with a feeling from a movie or a show rather than being like, that was pretty. You want a feeling. When I finished that first draft, I kind of started sending it to friends of mine who I wanted to be part of the crew and help me create this. So I sent it to them. And after they read through it briefly or however long, they asked me at the end, was Bryson AI or was he human? Which was an interesting question for me because originally when I was writing it, he was human, just doing kind of a ridiculous thing, and I was like, that's funny. But because of the way I wrote it, it was almost like, no, this being is AI. And I decided to play into that. I liked that concept of, is he or is he not? In fact, since it's come out, a few friends of mine have been like, oh yeah, Bryson's AI, right? That was cool. Other friends of mine are saying, oh yeah, he was human.
Hey Bryson, time me. I think I can beat my time.
All right. Today's the day. I'll mark it on your calendar.
Don't do that.
And that was a fun aspect to play, like acting wise. That was just a fun thing to teeter-totter a little bit. So I started asking people, friends of mine who would want to be in it, who could act in it, and pretty much everyone I was asking was like, yeah, I'll do it. Just let me know when we're going to do it. So after finishing the rough draft and getting people's thoughts and their opinions on the script, it got me thinking, and ideas started flowing and kind of changed a little bit of the direction I wanted to go. I confirmed that I did want to go more serious, less sketch comedy and more a real thing. And then first day of filming was on a Sunday. We filmed 2 scenes. That was the Jolie, Kevin, and Bryson talking scene
I guess I
outside.
could have done a different emoji.
I thought you said she was interested in somebody else.
Most of the sunset scenes that day.
Maybe I'll settle down, start a family. That could be nice.
And since these were friends of mine and people lending their time of their lives to help make the thing that I wanted to make, I just wanted people to have fun. I just appreciate every single person helping work on this and create this thing with me. And I'm very happy with it. This was also my first time really having a crew. I'm used to just making my own stuff by myself or with like a few people. But yeah, it was really cool. There's a lot of learning and juggling of different roles because, yeah. So that was the first day. The next day of filming was the following day, the Monday. It was just me and my friend Fernando. We went back to the sunset scene.
With time, everything changes.
And I needed some stuff of just kind of me. He got a lot of the moving sunset shots like around just me. He got that. I'm really happy with how that turned out. Then the third day of filming, we got all the garage scenes.
Hey, Bryson.
Yeah, buddy.
All the scenes in the kitchen.
It's looking clear and sunny.
Fantastic.
And then the fourth day, we got everything that was outside in the park, the running.
You've been running for 8 minutes.
That was it. It was 4 days of filming. This was really my first time like truly color grading. I've done a little bit, but not really enough to say, oh, I've color graded something. I've been kind of teaching myself every now and then with little videos that I've done, but this is like truly like my real first full-on color grading experience. And I learned a lot. I learned a lot about color grading, like the fundamentals and more so how I can achieve to get looks for myself rather than looking up, hey, how do I make something look cinematic or how do I do this? Like I really learned the fundamentals of color grading, a basic idea of the fundamentals. The first scene that I really finished color grading was the garage one. I wanted like this green ambience to the room. I wanted each scene to kind of have a certain feel or like its own environment, its own color almost. I guess rather than talking, I'll show you various before and after. Fun fact, one of the first shots I tried color grading was the sunset one, and I made it like this red, like brown-ish a little bit. It almost had like this Blade Runner-esque vibe to it, and I was like, oh, that looks so cool. That looks so cool. But then trying to copy that tone into the following shots was not, I couldn't achieve it. I just couldn't do it. Like they weren't filmed to get that like certain coloring. I'm happy with the more moody, the purplish, the calmer tones. I'm happy I went in that direction. This is one of those where I didn't get the first look, and I was like, damn it. Then it bummed me out for a little bit. After toughening up and having to create a different color scheme, I'm much more happy with the look that I currently have. And I think the purple and the calmer, peaceful tone of it fits way more than just something that I was like, oh, this is going to look pretty. And that's another thing about color grading that I learned was that the process of manipulating a series of shots. Because you can color grade one still image and be like, oh, that looks pretty, that looks good. But then the next shot is the exact same environment, but from further away. But the colors are different, or the tone is different. Like the lighting changed, and that was what was tricky about the sunset one, was trying to match it as best as I can. And I think overall, with learning and all that, I'm happy with what I got. Moving on into sound, I learned a lot about sound. Again, my first short film, Tradition, was really my first blending voices and sound effects, and making sure they're not like overlapping in a distracting way. This one was more subtle with sound effects. It's more about the score. I wanted to really get a theme going on, like a certain tone from start to finish, where you hear a song and you're not like, oh, that's out of place. It was a lot of learning on how to have certain volumes not be too distracting, like having the voices be loud enough where versus the music being too quiet and you're like, you can't even hear it, or it being too loud and you can't hear what people are saying. And not only that, when I finished it, I would export it and put it on YouTube, and I would listen with headphones on. I would listen from TV with the speakers. I would listen from my phone. I would listen from my computer speakers. And each one, I would hear certain things more or less. So I would have to tweak so that way it's not too noticeable with your headphones, but it's also with the TV speakers. It's like, oh, you can't hear it at all. So it was a crazy learning experience on balancing the different outputs of speakers. That was challenging. And in fact, I exported this short film 8 times. So by the 8th time, I got the sound the way I wanted. And there might be still little things here and there that I was just like, it's okay. It's okay. I couldn't figure it out, because otherwise, if I touched it, it was going to mess up other outputs of speakers. And I got to a point where I was like, this sounds good on each one. I'm happy with it. There's nothing distracting. One of the songs I use in the film is Dance Me to the End of Love. And that song, I wrote it in the script to be played, and we shot it with that song in mind. And when I first posted it on YouTube, there was, it was like copyright claim, blah, 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 blah. This video is blocked in certain countries. Normally, I don't get bothered by that stuff, but seeing that like people could potentially not see this thing that I made, so in my mind, I was like, no, oh wait, shit, I gotta change that, because I want people to see it. I started to make like a custom thing for that moment, but because it was something I was making, I was like, oh, this is cool, this is sick, this sounds cool. And I think it does. I think it does sound pretty cool, but it doesn't fit. This is like that the brown red sunset color grading thing. It just didn't fit the correct way. And after several times watching the new version with that song, I was just like, it doesn't feel right. So there was this battle of the studio guy in me and the creative guy in me, and I was like, all right, fine, I'll use the song that I made. And then I had my dad watch it, and he agreed. He was like, that song didn't feel, it felt ominous. It felt like I thought something bad was going to happen. And when nothing happened, I was like, weird. And I also felt that too. Every time I watched it, I was like, something feels weird about this, and I don't know what it is. So then I showed him the other version, which was the original version with the song, and he was like, oh, that was way better. Yeah. Because he does the on the phone, and then the music starts playing, and I was like, yeah, no, I agree. Yeah. I filmed it for that. So it confirmed in me that, yeah, that was the right thing to do. Keep that song. Because the other thing about the song that I made, it just changes the scene completely. Like even whatever you're listening to, because it's more soundtrack than like a music moment. Because right now, if you watch the short film, you kind of become Kevin and you're going on this run with him, listening to the same music with him, and just you kind of become him a little bit. Whereas in my version, you are just watching this guy go for a run. And it felt super. There's like this typical amateur filmmaker thing where the alarm clock, people wake up, they hit the alarm clock, or you see your main character just brushing teeth, just doing things for no reason. And not that it's no reason. It could show that someone's waking up and stuff, but what is of value in those scenes? Like you can make those things, the alarm clock and the brushing the teeth in the morning, be important to the story. But if it's just to show that, hey, this person's waking up, okay, we get it. And that's what the soundtrack became. It was just like, okay, we get it. This guy's going on a run. But with the song that I used, it's you're watching this guy go on a run, but you're in it. You're in the run with him. And you're not just like, oh, I'm watching some guy run right now. Okay, this is kind of, I get it. He's running. Okay. Oh, he's running that way. Okay. Oh, now he's running this way. Overall, I'm very happy with Artificial.I. I'm very happy with this short film. I'm very happy with everyone who helped make it with me because they each brought something to it that changed something, tweaked something into what it is. I asked the internet for questions they have for me on how I made it or just anything about it, and I'll answer some of those now. Music, was any/all of it composed or just free to use stuff? They were scores that I have bought in the past. I bought them from Filmright. For the most part, I used just the actual songs in that bundle, but every now and then the bundle also came with stems, and what stems are just the individual pieces that make up that one song. So like there's like a drum layer stem, there's a synth layer stem, and if you combine all the stems, you get the song that you purchased or that was created. So I would use mostly the actual song, but then I would also use stems every now and then just to throw in a little bit of a like ambience or not a full-on soundtrack, but just something, just a little underlayer of like ambience or just some sort of thing, like in the garage.
Whoa. That's a shame.
Yeah, well, the great thing is, since it's a stem from one of the other songs, it fits with everything else. It doesn't feel out of place because it's kind of, they're all matching the same tone. And the other song, the Dance Me to the End of Love by Leonard Cohen, not mine. I don't own that. It's a copyrighted song, and I just wanted, I think it fit the story, and I wrote it in the script, and I wanted to use it because it's a cool song. If you could change one bit, what would it be? I would have changed, when I was editing, something that just kept, like, I was like, it was bothering me, was in the scene where it was the three of us, me, Jolie, and Kevin, those three characters. It was really sunny that day. It was really bright, and I personally kind of lacked the equipment to really handle that. There were some certain camera angles, like a wide and other things that I would have liked to get. Would have made that scene breathe a little bit more. Also, if I could have changed the weather, I would have made it not as bright or at a time when it just wasn't as bright. But I'm happy with it. That's the only thing that jumps out to me to change. And I'm okay with that because for the most part, that's a equipment thing and a lack of money thing, which is, I'm okay with that being a reason. But also, I also would have liked to, if I had control of the weather, maybe made it not as sunny. Just maybe partly cloudy. It would have been nice to be partly cloudy that day during that moment, but it's okay. How much is the exclusive package?
Does this mean you want to upgrade your package? The exclusive deal?
I don't know. $200? No questions here. It was just amazing. Someone didn't follow the prompt. No, but thank you. I appreciate that. How many days did it take to shoot the film? Okay. 4 days. 4 separate days. 2 days in 1 week and 2 days another week. That's not counting the voiceover days that I did. I would say technically 6 days, because I did 1 day, and the voiceover stuff was like maybe an hour. It's not like really that long, but 6 separate days that I recorded something. And in fact, the last day I did voiceover stuff was to like correct one scene. I didn't like the way it was playing out, and I just had to come up with something better. So I did that like 2 weeks before releasing this. What did I think about it? I'm someone who I can look at my own work and appreciate everything about it. I don't get too nitpicky about, oh, I could have improved this, I could have done this. Like, I'm happy with it. I spent a good amount of time on it, and I created this thing, and people helped me create this thing, and I am happy with what I made. I feel like anything could always be better. If I really stuck with that, then it wouldn't even be released, and who knows how long that would take. But I wanted it to be out, and I'm happy with it. I am satisfied with it. Is this film based off personal data you've collected, and would you date ChatGPT? No. And no. So yeah, thank you for watching. This was the making of Artificial.I. Oh, and real quick, I didn't have the name until like the week before. I just called it Artificial Intelligence, which I guess is pretty close to the name, but I was like, I'm going to change this into something better, more creative. And nothing came up, and then I just was typing artificial, and then I put I, and then I stopped, looked at it, and I was like, yeah, this is the name. I found it. I finally found it a week before promising to release it. Yeah.
Because I thought you were a human being at the beginning, right? And you were talking about the whole AI. It wasn't, and maybe that was intentional. It wasn't until you got into the house that I realized that you were representing an AI, right? So that was pretty cool. I thought this was one of your best ones that you've had so far.
Yeah.
And being at the right place at the right time. I think you have a career in doing this kind of stuff. I really do.
Thanks, Dad.
You just have to stick with it.
Come here, I'm gonna give you a hug.
Yeah.